It's very important to set up your camera the way you want. It makes photography so much more enjoyable, and of course this applies to any genre. These are my settings for my Ricoh GR3X for street photographs. Hi, it's Peter here, and let's get right into the business. And a few words about the camera first. I bought it, I think it was in October, November last year, and I've been using it as my go-to camera for my travels, and when I go out and walk around in the city, I always have the camera with me. And I really enjoy the size of the camera and the fact that it is probably, for me at the moment, the perfect camera for my street photographs. And if I look back about a year and see how my street photographs looked, I am a bit surprised that what I'm going to say next is something that I never thought I would say. But the Ricoh GR3X has made a big impact on my way of shooting. It has made me a better photographer. This is something that, as I said, I was a bit surprised that I actually said it. It's all about other things too. I have been concentrating more on that and, made some more content about street photographs, so it has been in my mind a long time now, so that's probably the biggest reason. But yes, Ricoh GR3X has helped me on that journey to become a better photographer. Yes, it's out there now, I've said it. That camera can make a difference, even though I've a lot of content where I say it doesn't. My settings. I will go quite quickly through all the settings that I've made to make the camera even better for street photographs. But you don't have to stop the video, just watch the video, and then I will have a link in the description to a PDF file that you can download. You can download it from Gumroad. It's totally free, but if you want, you can pitch in a few bucks. If you can spare some money, that will support my free content. But as I said, if you feel that you don't want to do that, then just download it for free. It's totally fine. And these settings will apply also to Ricoh GR3, even though I have the X. But they are exactly the same camera, except for the lens. And let's finally start with the settings. The focus settings. The focus is set to zone select AF. From the customize menu, I can choose whether to have the touch AF enabled or not. I have had it so that when I touch the back screen, it will focus on that particular place and I will fire the camera or click the shutter with the shutter button. But you can set it also so that you can use the back screen as a shutter button too, so that it will focus and make the image. Then I have AF assist light off. I don't want to be visible on the streets when I photograph, so that's why I have it on, and I haven't had any problems with that. And then snap focus distance I've set to 3.5 meters because I usually stop down a notch, f5.6, f8, so 3.5 is pretty good. It's, practically everything is in focus, so I don't have to worry about if the focus is not fast enough, even though I've never had really problems with that. And I've set it to FN button on the back, but I will talk about that later when I talk about the customization that I've made. And then I also use the face detection, which is quite good. It works really well with the new zone select AF, which has like 3 times 3 focusing points, which I can of course move on the back screen if I need to. But yeah, that was about the focusing. And then let's go to the exposure settings. I mainly use P mode because that usually works the best. ISO setting I use auto ISO, the upper limit to 6400 ISO. And I have the minimum shutter speed set to as fast as I need it. And usually it is 125th of a second. That usually is fast enough. And I do have a video about the auto ISO over there if you want to watch it. And I explain it how it works on that video, and there is actually another video, part 2, where I explain a bit more because there were some misunderstandings about the use of auto ISO in my first video. The program line is depth of field priority deep. This way the camera will maximize the depth of field, which I usually want on my street photographs. If I don't, then I just dial in manually the aperture.
And then I have linked the exposure point and the focus point to the same spot, so it will measure the exposure from the focusing point, which is usually something that I want.
And then the white balance settings. This is just white balance is set on auto. If I use film simulations, which I'm not going to cover on this video, then I might change this according to the film simulation recipe, because sometimes the film recipes want or is more towards warmer tones. But I have it on auto. It works perfectly. If I need to tweak, then shooting raw, then I can do it in post. It doesn't matter. So it's just the best way. And usually I don't need to do that much white balance adjustments anyway. From shooting settings, snap distance priority is usually off. And image capture settings. I mainly shoot raw, but if I use film recipes, then I have raw plus JPEG, because then the film recipe is baked into the JPEG, and I still have the raw image if I want to, make the editing a bit different. And maybe I don't like that particular film recipe on that particular image, then I still have the raw image. And then I have crop turned off, but I have set it to a button, and I will talk about that a bit later. And the crop is that you can punch in, zoom in with the 50mm equivalent and 71mm equivalent. And I every now and use it if I am too far away of the subject and I'm photographing, but it will crop the pixels out, so there will be less pixels in that. But that's not a problem. If I need to, make them back, I just use Topaz Photo AI to do that, or Gigapixel AI. I'll put links to those softwares if you're interested. Color space, I use Adobe RGB because then I can record the most amount of colors and color tones. When I export the images for online use, then I, of course, export them as sRGB. Recording RAW and Adobe RGB gives me the best possible amount of information the sensor can capture. Peripheral illumination correction is on. This takes care of the vignetting. And image control is standard. Noise reduction is turned off for slow shutter speed and high ISO noises. If you like, you can adjust the noise reduction for each ISO value separately. I think this is a very good feature. So if you want, play around with the settings and see which works best. I'm totally fine with the noise, so I have it turned off completely. Then the customized controls. The FN button is set to snap focus priority. I can pre-focus to 3.5 meters and I'm good to go. And if I have F8, I don't need to worry about the focusing. Practically everything will be in focus, so I don't have to worry about misfocusing or anything like that. It will be in focus what I want. The movie/wireless button. I have set it to crop. So if I press here, then I will have 50mm lens, and if I press here, I will have 71mm lens. Or actually it's not a lens, of course, but it will crop the image. And as I said earlier, it will throw out some of the pixels, but it's not a problem because most of the images are online anyways, and if they're not, then I can always upscale them with AI. Film simulations. I have really not used film simulation on my Ricoh camera. I always shoot raw and then I will make the post-production in Lightroom Classic. But if you want, there are quite a few things that you can adjust and play around with them. And, it's sometimes really good if you don't like post-processing that much. Then you could just make a film recipe for yourself in the camera and shoot JPEG and you're good to go. And some of them are quite good and mimic different film stock and stuff like that. But yeah, it is something that I have not played around that much. And I do have something special for you for making those film recipes if you're into that. I will talk about that at the end of this video. Display customization. Instant review is off. I want the camera always to be ready to photograph, and I do not need to see the image right away. Display settings. The guide display is off. And sound effects settings. I set it to volume 0 because I don't want any sounds to be heard when I make those images. I want to be silent and invisible when I photograph on the streets. Beeping sounds will just, draw attention, and I don't like that. And then storing the settings. Ricoh GR3 and 3X has 3 custom settings placed on the mode dial and 2 more from the menu. You can save 5 different settings. I have the basic settings on U1, U2 is for color, and U3 is for black and white. I can always recall those if I want faster to switch from color to black and white. It's quite easy. And then the extra treat. I've said this before, so some of you might already know this. It's the film recipe maker that I made with ChatGPT, and it's totally free, but what you need is a paid ChatGPT Plus account, which is about, I don't know, $10-20 a month. You need that, but other than that, it is totally free. And it's a fun way of making film recipes, and you can, write, let's say, like Kodak Tri-X 400, and it will give you a recipe that will mimic that. Of course, it's not perfect, but it's a good starting point. So then just dial those in, and you're good to go and see how 3X 400, for example, looks like. And yes, there is a link in the description to that PDF where I have all this laid out for you for easy access to the information, so you don't have to watch this video over and over again and stop every time you need to make the settings. Remember, these are only starting points for you. These settings work for me, but you might prefer something else. And if you have something that I've missed, or you have some special settings that work for you, please let us know in the comments down below, because that will help the community and the viewers to adjust their own cameras if they want. And it will help me too. And here is a video why this camera has been very good to me. You might want to watch that if you haven't seen it before. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.